Alright, it's time! Another week of ZTGD Radio. This is episode 786 for March 4th, 2024. Already all up in that first quarter. What's up? On the show this week, we got Turds.
What up?
Got the Wombat.
Yes, sir.
And we got Anthony.
Nah, it's too exciting for my name.
No,
Man,
never.
You got
like
Anthony.
when they say your name,
No,
I
wait.
feel like listeners be getting hyped. They're like, "Wait,
They're already writing their angry email. I understand.
What this
it's not even
Wonder
that.
Boy cracker motherfucker gonna say this week?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's more of like I just don't have anything to talk about this week. So,
Well, I gave you Euphoria, didn't you play it?
man,
Ah,
I didn't know it. I wanted to. I totally my brain fried and forgot.
that Sunsoft music is back. So good.
I don't even know what the heck Euphoria is."
It's
Wow.
Euphoria
It's a
2, brother. It's a
sequel.
sequel.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
sequel.
it's a sequel. Okay.
They did. I really liked their because they had another one too. What was the other platformer where they had their own characters?
Oh man, I don't remember the name of it, but I was reminded.
Was it Gimmick? No.
No, that doesn't sound right. I was reminded they made that Resident Evil clone yesterday on the PS1. What was it? The Trag? Is that what it was called? Oh,
Why does that sound familiar?
dude, it
What?
was like anime Resident Evil. That shit.
Yeah, Gimmick is them.
Is it?
Yep.
Man, okay.
Because Gimmick is the other one where they made these really cute character designs, and those games just never were as big as their licensed titles over here, and they're really good titles.
Oh man, I see. When I think of Sunsoft, like, of course I think of Batman, but the first game that comes to my mind is not a licensed game. It's fucking Blaster Master. Oh,
Oh, they did do Blast.
That's
so
actually
good.
their first. That's actually the first game that shows up when I typed in Sunsoft Games NES. Blaster Master is number 1.
Yeah,
Batman is number 2.
Batman's the one I always think of.
What would you guess
Me
is
too.
number 3?
I don't know. I honestly only know them from
I
the
don't
two
know.
games.
Was
Arrow the Acrobat. That's my guess.
No, NES.
Oh, NES.
was that werewolf game Sunsoft?
Which werewolf game? Wolfchild?
No, werewolf.
No, I don't.
Hold on.
Anyways, Journey to Silius is the third game that
Oh,
shows
the
up.
one.
okay.
Yeah, okay. Journey
Yeah,
to
no,
Silius is good.
Werewolf was Data East.
Man, I don't know. I'm thinking one of Werewolf. I know I've probably played it, but that's such a
I'll
generic
send
name.
I'll send you a picture. Hold on.
Yeah, I bet I played this.
Hebereki is a character from Euphoria that was eventually brought to other things, including Penguin Wars.
Oh, here it is. It's full circle now.
Ooh,
Penguin Wars is back in the building.
That the person that put out the last game is no longer in business, I'm pretty sure.
Holy shit, I remember this box art. Why is it yellow?
I don't know, but this game was a frequent rental for me.
Holy shit.
I rented this game probably, God, I don't know, at least a dozen times.
How many of the games we grew up with were either made by Data East, Sunsoft, or fucking Taito?
Yeah, well, let me show you a picture, and you'll understand why I thought it was a Sunsoft game.
Yeah, that's a Sunsoft game. Like them big chunky pixels and that screen. Yeah, that looks like Sunsoft.
Yeah, but apparently Data East. So
Data East made some good shit. It's a shame that they don't anymore.
Data East Konami, Capcom, and then Sunsoft. I mean, those are kind of the games that I've gone back to that aren't Nintendo on NES and like liked.
Oh man,
Actually,
they were so. Some of those games were. Journey to Silliest nobody ever really talks about, but that game is really
outside
good.
of the fact that it was supposed to be Terminator.
Yeah, but I mean, it's good though. It's like
It
really
is good.
good. Oh man, NES games are so good. All right, let's talk about other games. Terrence, you want to kick us off?
Um, sure. Let's see. So I have played a lot. Oh man. I just kind of running this down. So I put out a review for Cricket Through the Ages, um, which is a one button um kind of arcadey game. I don't even know. It's the whole thing is it's a accurate, historically accurate. I'm using air quotes here. Depiction or tale of like the invention of cricket throughout history. And
Picture the
really
giant.
like
I picture a giant crab, and you attack its weak point for damage.
man, that's pretty much what this is, actually. Yeah,
Oh, is
it's
it?
exactly that sort of historical accuracy that it is, and it's very tongue in cheek. And when you play the game, and I thought about this today, and I was like, man, I should have put that in the review. It actually feels like a Monty Python sketch, like each little like round that you play, because like it's one button, right? So you'll spawn in and you'll be a knight, all right, and you'll have like a sword in your hand, and you press the button, and you'll like spin your hand in a circle, so you're like spinning the sword round and round, and like the faster you tap it, you'll start to move forward towards the other guy who may have a ball or he may have another sword. But if you're actually playing the game of cricket, one of you has a ball, one of you has a bat. But like up the lead up to it, like tells you how like cricket evolved. So you're like those two knights fighting, and then you're like a caveman who has a rock that's throwing it at a rampaging T-Rex that just eats them, and like you control the T-Rex one time where you just run out and eat the dude, and the other time you're like the guy throwing the rock at it. It's yeah,
I'm
it's not a
sorry.
long game. Yeah, go ahead,
I
go ahead. I
zoned
know.
out for a minute. You were talking about cricket and then T Rexes. What the fuck just happened?
Yeah, man, this game is wild. It goes, because it's like I said, it's very tongue in cheek. So it goes. There's prehistoric era. You end up in space at one point, so you're throwing a ball at each other in space, and so it moves really
Space.
slow through gravity. Good catch right there. And so when you hit someone in the head with the ball, like the animation and stuff is very like simplistic and cute. Like it's like the paper craft kind of art style. So when you get X'd out, like you get X's over your eyes and like your guy like falls out. And I don't know why. I found that funny every time it happened. But it's it's a quick play. It's pretty cheap. I think it's or I don't even not even think it was an Apple Arcade game at one point. So they ported it over to consoles and PC. I played it on PC. But it's it was all right. But I mean, if you want to know more about it, you can read the review or check out a trailer. But it's yeah. Um, so played a lot of Spider-Man 2. Um, Man, that game is great. I just finished up a Miles section, um, where some
Where
things
they give
happen.
him
I'm
the
not gonna.
Killmonger cut.
Man,
Like,
man, he
they're like,
starts that
"Hey,
game
fam,
off with
I'm
that.
gonna hook you up nice," and then they give him the Killmonger cut and like slap him on the
Yeah,
ass, like, "Get out, loser."
yep, that's exactly I think what happened. Like we got to stop this. We got to stop this. Developers, listen. Me as a black man, and I have a whole community behind me. We gotta
You
stop
ain't got no
this. We gotta.
community. Don't lie.
I have
You've been trying to build that for a
hopes.
long time.
I have hopes of a community behind me. But no, despite my man rocking the Killmonger cut, that game is fantastic. I like the different twists that they done with the symbiote story. Um, I don't know. It's really good. It definitely is really good. The side missions, and I know, Ryan is already waxed poetic about this, but the side
Oh, I
missions and
have.
stuff in that are really, really good too. And you get, costumes and rewards. Like I finished up
Costumes.
one set. Yeah, yeah. And I was saying before the show, like, if I had like a gripe, really, and it's just that I've yet to really find a Miles costume that I really like. Like I found a bunch of them on Peter's side that they pulled from various comics that I thought was dope. But like some of the Miles ones, I'm just like, man, meh. I don't know. But I still have a lot more to unlock, so I'm sure I'll find something because there's hella stuff in this game. Um, but one of the things, and I you know what, I don't remember ever reading about this, and I don't remember y'all ever talking about it. But did you notice that when they're like on the phone and different stuff, and you're like standing still, it'll be one kind of voice, but if you're like swinging or like
Yeah.
flying, like they use an that is so cool because it happens dynamically.
That
Yeah,
was
they
in the
actually
first
they
game.
did that in the first game too. Yeah.
Oh, I don't even think I realized
You
that.
would.
Okay.
I only knew that because somebody posted a video comparing the same dialogue,
Yeah,
Hmm.
they
and a
recorded
bunch of
basically all of that dialogue for both. Like
and
all of the dialogue that can happen when you're just roaming, they recorded it both ways, as if he's standing there and as if he's flying or swinging
Ain't
through the air.
ain't no wonder this game cost $300 million. Jesus
That's right.
Christ!
Yeah,
I'm sure
man.
that is not the lone reason why that game
No shit.
that game looks expensive.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
That
does.
game looks more expensive than most of Uncharted because
Yeah.
Uncharted like is still a linear experience.
I'm gonna tell you
So
something right now.
I
What
don't
we
know.
talked about last week, y'all should really enjoy and appreciate Spider-Man because that might be the last $300 million game you play.
Could be.
That's probably true.
I
Yeah.
mean, it
Yeah.
probably should be.
No, you right.
Not that I don't want more games like that to exist, but I have questioned that that amount of money being spent on games for a long time. Because like at the end of the day, I realize like could they look better? Yes, but like Nintendo games kind of show you can be really fun and not be like super graphical fidelity shit.
Photorealistic stuff and different things. Yeah, you don't have to have all that.
I don't think we'll see the end of it. I think we will see far less of it.
Well, Sony
Like,
just dropped
I
like
could see-
$10 billion in value and canceled a bunch of projects. So I'm thinking the next Insomniac game.
I think
Well, the good news is
will be.
the engine's already built now. So for PS5, the PS5 engine's already built. So their Insomniac's next game is going to be a mid-tier game anyway, like Miles.
Yeah, what I'm saying is like Spider-Man 3 for PS6 or whatever. I don't think it's happening.
Well,
like that money wise, I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that game is great, and I know it's been talked about to death. I've played I played some more Foam Stars where I actually got into some matches. Yeah, I don't know what it wants to be because like the foam bits, like it doesn't look as cool as the paint does in Splatoon, and then like when you're spraying the foam around, like I don't know, I don't know, it doesn't necessarily look like foam. It just like because like one side is shooting green and the other side is like pink, and like it's just like a pile of pink fluff. Like it doesn't even look like foam. I don't know. I don't know. That game is.
The game is.
It ain't gonna last long. Yeah. It's not gonna last long. I did play some more. Fist of the North Star. The Lost Paradise. That's great. That game.
That's
That game is a lot of fun.
that's Yakuza game.
It definitely is. My God, it definitely.
But guys
is.
explode. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of love it.
Yes, sir. That's what I was going to say. But guys explode, so I'm all about it. Like I'm trying to figure out the different like the combat system. Like I need some sort of like not a tutorial, but like a training room or something. Because like I can't like. Is it random that you pull off the different like finishing techniques, or is there a way?
No. So it's the stand where you're standing mixed with the environment and everything. It's the same in Yakuza.
Oh, okay.
Finisher moves change based on how many times you've hit an enemy, where you're hitting them, like location wise. It'll figure out if there's a wall in a certain distance. Like it does get a little more intricate. You'll eventually get the ability to auto finish, where you literally
nice.
stun and finish them right away. So like you hit like I think circle to grab, and he spears them in the chest with his hand, which paralyzes them, and then you can instantly just go into a finisher. Yes.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Nice. Okay. I'll look forward to that.
The one thing that I'll say about that game though is like all Yakuza games, there's a rhythm game section, but I think it might be harder than the dancing in Yakuza 0. Jesus Christ. The fucking doctor mission in Fist of the North Star is one of the hardest rhythm sections of anything I've ever seen in my life.
Okay. Looking forward to that. Lord. All right. Yeah, 'cause I definitely haven't got super. Where am I? Into the city? I think I just got into the city. Or out of the jail. That's what it was. I just got out of, like, yeah, that's where I am.
You eventually get to drive around too in the
nice.
the wasteland. It's not as exciting as it sounds, but it is okay. There is some racing though that you get to do, and that was pretty fun. I like that game. It's clearly B Team working on that one. I think that came out. I think that came out before Kiwami 2. And therefore, I believe before 6 as well.
I mean, it had to. That game was on PS3 360, right?
No, Fist of the North Star was not.
No,
was that the PS4 one?
Yeah, that is PS4 only.
Okay, there's
You're
a couple.
You're thinking the one. You're thinking of the Muso titles.
That's right. Never mind.
Which is weird because they still have a connection. Because the first game was translated to English, and the guy that plays Kenshiro is the voice of oh my god, really, I'm forgetting his name. The main character from the new Like a Dragon series.
Oh, Ichiban?
Yeah, he's Ichiban's English voice actor. did Kenshiro in the English dub of the Fist of the North Star Ken's Rage.
I'm still blown away that the Genesis launched with a Fist of the North Star game in America. That's still wild to me.
There was a Fist of the North Star game for Sega Master System.
Yeah, but the Genesis that was one of the launch titles, which is
I want to say Black Belt was one of the launch titles
for the Master System.
Master System.
Oh god, I'm not gonna remember the like. You asked me what the NES launched with. I'm like, I don't fucking know. Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. That's about where I get.
You're about right. Yeah.
Dude, are you like downloading petabytes of information because you picking up like a motherfucker?
Me?
Yeah, you sound like you on like a dial-up. You're like max headroom shit over here.
Oh shit! No, I'm not. No, I'm not downloading anything actually. What the hell? Hold on.
Check your bandwidth.
I'm checking it.
I'm checking. It was not a launch game, but it was 2 months after launch that Black Belt came out.
Master System didn't have a ton of games, right? Like less than 100 or something?
No, Master System had over 100.
But barely, right?
Let me see.
Like it wasn't a ton of games. They moved on pretty fast to the Genesis.
No, it came out in 86.
Yeah, but the Genesis came out in 89. That's 3 years. That's a short life cycle.
I'm just saying.
That's wild. I ain't downloading. Yeah, shit. Am I good? Y'all can hear me?
I can hear you.
Skipping?
Not right now, no.
Okay. Well, I don't know what it is. I apologize. Let me wrap up what I'm playing. So yeah. Foam Stars. Oh, I got the Icky Island on.
Did you do the Icky Shuffle when you got there?
I did not actually. I missed that. I probably should have done that. Still a beautiful game. Let's see. On Xbox, played some more Final Fantasy 14. Of course, I think I'm almost level 30. So I want my mount. But there's like a level 20 story mission, and I ended up over leveling myself because I was doing all the side stuff. So like I'm ahead of all the stuff. So I'm like trying to catch up so I can get my mount. But I love that game.
I did the math. There's 117 Master System games.
See, I said barely over 100.
Hold on. In North America only.
Yeah, that's what I count.
It's also region free.
Well, I mean, they didn't know
Oh,
back
yeah.
then.
They did, because that's where they had to import copies of Sonic the Hedgehog, which is the reason why like one of the versions has like an extremely stupid high sales price, because it doesn't have the UPC sticker on the case. It's got to actually print it on because it's the North American version and not the PAL version. It's dumb. I'm not saying everybody should go get a Master System, far from it. But it's just one of those things where it's like there was more going on than you'd think on that system.
Yeah, like putting the pause button on the fucking machine.
Well,
the dumbest shit
I
ever.
want to say that might be from the controller. Like the D-pad is different too, because the D-pad couldn't be the same as Nintendo's. I think that was the way they got around Nintendo potentially suing them.
I just call it dumb.
What? Yeah, because we had one when I was a kid. I had a Master System. Okay, I'm almost done. So I finally got
by the way,
Star Wars Jedi.
That's in that Fist of the North Star game. Is the Fist of the North Star Master System title?
Like you can play it?
Yep.
I mean, dude, it's
nice.
like 24 kilobytes. It's not.
Yeah,
exactly,
I mean, they don't usually have a. I think Judgment is like the first time that they have a home console in the Yakuza series.
Yeah, it's usually arcade for sure.
It's usually arcade, which they had as well. Although it's kind of a pain in the ass because you have to actually go and get those arcade machines out in the desert. Yeah, you can just play the Fist of the North Star Master System game in Kentro's apartment.
Yeah, you can play it for about 5 minutes till you realize this is a Master System game and it's hard to play.
Yeah, it's much better than Black Belt, where it has none of the violence.
Come on, it's not. It's a very low bar that nobody could go under.
But when it's supposed to be the same game, I'm just saying it's far better.
I think the Master System is the only Sega console I didn't own.
You didn't own an SG-1000.
I don't even know what that is, so you're right.
Yeah. Everybody forgets they had a console before the Master
has
System.
An SG-1000 because that was Japan only, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But it was still their first.
I'm talking about commercially available American systems. You friggin' flea market.
This motherfucker just tried to tell me that importing games was not okay, and then he pulls out the SG-1000. Who's the bigger fucking nerd here, Ken?
Who told you that importing games wasn't okay? I never said importing games.
You said that. Oh, well, that wasn't really happening at the time.
Oh,
no, I was talking about. I said that region locking wasn't like as a big a deal. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, fair
no,
enough. Well,
motherfucker, I imported games starting into PlayStation. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I'm wrong, by the way. I didn't own a Nomad. I owned a Game Gear, but I didn't own a Nomad.
You owned a Nomad for 2 hours until the batteries died. Then you're like, fuck, I can't afford that many more batteries.
Man, that's where we went the Game Gear.
The Game Gear was like that for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
The Nomad
was worse. First time
the
batteries went out on that thing, my mama was like, nope, no, you just gonna be stuck with no batteries. Like,
what's crazy? That's why the Game Boy destroyed it, because the Game Boy batteries lasted like 30 hours and the Game Gear batteries lasted like 2.
Yep.
And it took less.
Also true.
Like, what the fuck are you even doing? And Nomad was like burning them faster than the Game Gear did.
Well, to be fair,
I never had that.
It was also playing full Sega Genesis games.
I mean, sure, but like, if you can't take it anywhere to play them, then just play them on your fucking Genesis.
Yeah.
When your batteries die, it'll be the answers to the questions: can you play your games, and how do you feel? Will be Nomad. It's a lot of work, but I got there.
Yeah,
you got there. Yeah.
You made it, I guess.
Okay, so Lord. Okay, so Final Fantasy 14, yes, I played some Dark Forces. I forgot my man's ship was called the Moldy Crow. I laughed at that. I was like, forgot that was the name of Cockatoo.
That game is like totally different than like Doom. Like everybody calls it Doom, but that game is not Doom.
It's Doom in the sense that everything is flat in a polygonal world, and that's where that ends.
Yep.
I mean, Dark Forces though takes it to another level with like structures within structures and stuff. Like the way the levels are designed is much more complex than Doom. It's crazy.
Yeah, the remake looks good. I only played like the first level. I mean, I'm sure I'll finish it eventually. I would love to see them redo the Dark Forces 2, the Jedi series,
Yep.
because those were good games.
It's
Um,
crazy how they have a toggle in there for the fucking sound blaster cards.
Man, you
oh,
you
I didn't
say
even see
that,
that.
but all my nostalgia for games like that comes with Sound Blaster sound. So
Man, I remember installing my first Sound Blaster sound card for because I wanted to play some game and I bought it, and the I didn't have any sound and I didn't know that I needed a sound card, and I did all this research and talked to friends and my talked to my mom into buying one. And, oh my God, good times,
Yeah,
good
PC
times.
gaming, right?
Yep.
Yep, buy that Voodoo card,
Oh
buy
man.
that sound blaster,
Yep. Voodoo.
get that
Oh man.
3D FX, baby.
Oh, good times. Okay. I'm almost done. So I'm playing for review, Slave Zero X. That's a weird game. So is this a remake or is it a
No,
brand new game?
no, the
Okay, so
original
this,
was a third-person mech game.
huh? Well, this is, I guess, kind of because you're in a suit, like the Red Demon, like show is in, and he's after, some other demon. It's weird, man. I don't understand the story. Like, I'm like, why am I fighting? And then it's like it plays like a fighting game. Like, because it's like, oh, well, you could do EX moves if you do this. And I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know how the fuck to do any moves. Like, there is no like sheet that says press, a combo is XXA. Like, you just got to figure it out. Like, I don't, like, he can do apparently cool shit, but I've yet to figure it out. So, more to come.
I
It's
think
weird.
that's the
I don't know.
game. I think that's the game, if I remember, because I play a little bit of it too, where like it takes you through like 600 tutorials before you even start, and I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, I ain't gonna remember past two right now.
Yeah, that is the game. Yes, because it tells you about the jumping and it tells you about the EX moves and all that. Yeah, it's
Before you
hella
even
tutorial.
start the first level, it tells you
Yeah,
everything you can do, and I'm just sitting there going, nah, this ain't it. This ain't how you do this.
yeah, it's a lot, and like I said, I've yet to pull off anything move related. It's weird. I don't know. More to come though. I played some more Small Land, which is basically Grounded but Fern Gully. Um, So that's, I'm going to review that as well. And then, like I said, I got Jedi Survivor and have started that. I'm super early in, and I just kind of really wanted to swing a lightsaber around and throw some people around with the Force. Before I get super deep, I want to finish Spider-Man. But I may end up just playing them in tandem because God, I love Star Wars. But yeah, that's it. That's where we at.
All right, Anthony, what do you got? You got anything?
I finished Yakuza 0.
That's an accomplishment. That is a
hey,
long ass fucking video game.
that is a long ass game.
I was about to say,
Uh,
A
right?
great game though.
over 100 hours I spent in it.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Damn.
Because oh Lord Almighty. So because Yakuza 0 has that you upgrade with cash,
Mm-hmm.
I spent a lot of time just idling the game, sitting there waiting for the real estate section to just keep collecting winnings,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
send stuff to Majima so you can upgrade. I could upgrade him, and
A
then
lot of grinding. Yes.
had to do all the what's it called? So I had to finish the real estate, and then I had to also finish the cabaret club because you need to finish those stories completely to unlock the final fighting style for both Kiryu and Majima. And I did, and then I barely used those because once you've unlocked that, they give you that the dragon style, and then the Mad Dog of Shimano style.
When do you get the Gangnam Style?
That's Korean. That's
Old
racist.
style.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Gangnam style.
The rings for that allowed me to upgrade my other styles to be more powerful, and they already had, full upgrade trees. So the end of that game sort of was a cakewalk, but it was just kind of a pain in the ass. Still, it was like I fought Kuze and I went, cool. I think I'm done fighting Kuze now. I was not done fighting Kuze. That was like there was still like another hour and a half story wise for me to fight Kuze for the final fucking time.
Sounds like a Yakuza game.
So I jumped into Kiwami because I'm clearly mentally ill.
Is that the sequel or the first?
That's
That's the
the
first
remake
game,
of number
yeah.
one. I'm
Okay.
enjoying it far more. Zero is more fun. Like, you know, it's the 80s, so there's some like weird carryovers still, like the dance club, but like I'm gonna be honest with you, I was tired of that dance minigame. It's fun, but like the fact that it stuns you if you accidentally try to move off grid is annoying, and I was just like, I'm done with this. I fucking can't stand this anymore. So I was just kind of like, I finished the game, I did most of the sub stories, and then I was just like, I'm done with this. I'm if I'm not deleting the data, I can come back and play it if I want. But I think I've seen most of what I want to see, and I'm going to move on to the next game because the goal is to at some point get to infinite wealth. God knows when that will be.
Oh, they'll probably be on like Yakuza
3 years from
14
now.
by the
Yeah.
time you get to it.
So, but yeah, that's kind of it. I'm sure there's other stuff I've played, but that's kind of all I remember. So,
All right, I guess it's time to talk about some wrestling.
Yeah. So,
The enthusiasm is
before
thick.
before I do that, let me cover just a couple other games.
Yeah,
that I
yeah, go
played
ahead.
this week. So, I finished Mega Man 4, which is the worst of the first 4.
Yes.
Mega Men, and also the worst of the first 5 Mega Men.
Yes.
And I'm most of the way through 5 at this point. I'm in the Dark Man stages.
Liam Neeson's in that game?
Yes, he is. Man,
Sweet.
don't diss on Dark Man. I love that movie.
I fucking love that. Are
That
you
is a good
kidding? I
movie.
love that movie.
That's a
Yeah,
great
Dark
movie.
Man is awesome.
The pink elephant, if you please.
So I also played a game with my son yesterday called Your Only Move is Hustle. Has anybody here played that?
I have not.
No.
before
I'm
you
intrigued by the
mentioned it the
title.
other day, I didn't even know about this game.
Yeah, I never heard of it.
So it's kind of rad. So it's think of it as, so you've seen like Stick Fight, right?
Mhm.
Where you
Stick
have
Fight's
these
awesome. Yeah.
very low visual quality characters doing all these like crazy animated moves. So visually it looks like that. And so you can pick from different like characters out of the box. I think it's got 4 characters: a ninja, cowboy, wizard, and robot. And so it's a turn-based, frame-by-frame fighting game. So the way it works is when it's your turn, you pick a move to do, right? And the screen will show you what the move is going to do. So it'll show the move fire off. It'll show what, if there's movement involved, where it makes your person move. And then the other person picks what they will do. And it does the same thing. Shows their move, shows where it'll move them, whatever. And then when you both are locked in, it'll advance, but it'll only advance 1 or 2 frames at a time. So then what happens is you can pick a different move, or you can dodge the move that the other person put out. And keep in mind, all of these turns are happening before the move has even completed yet, right? So you build on this, frames at a time. Sometimes it's like 7, 8 frames. It depends on the move, right? And so you build on this, trying to do damage to each other while, it's a little like chess, right? Where you're maneuvering your pieces where you can do damage without having damage done to you. And then whoever wins, right, is the person who depletes the other person's health bar. Then at the very end, it plays a replay where it shows your entire fight in real time. And it's the coolest looking shit because you're making all these like corrections and dodges and slight movements around projectiles frame by frame. And then in real time, it looks like the coolest choreographed stick fight scene you've ever seen.
So it's basically super hot.
Kind of, yeah. It's very similar to Super Hot. Except it doesn't have the, the screen only advances when you move. It's more deliberate than Super Hot.
So basically like a turn-based super hot.
It's like the John Wick game. The John Wick game is like that. You plan the moves like by time, like you pick. It's exactly like how you did, and then at the end of it, it plays through the whole thing where you see it in real time. Yeah, so it looks like it does in the movies.
This game is super rad, and it's only like $5. So
what system is it on?
We played it on Steam. I don't know that it's on anything else.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like $5, and I will say when you're playing local, the person who goes first kind of has a disadvantage. My son and I got around that by switching off who got to go first every time. But online, you wouldn't have that. You wouldn't be able to see what the other person was doing. So you just kind of have to guess what you think they're going to do, what move you think they're going to do, and where it's going to land. It's a cool game for $5. So, I mean, at least I would put it on your wish list and maybe check it out down the line because it's a neat game.
Sounds like it. Does it work with your Steam Deck? I'm assuming.
Don't know. Haven't tried it on there. My son bought it on his account, so I don't have his account on my Steam Deck. So I'm sure it does, though. It's not like it's intense.
Look up a game called Ronin. I think you might enjoy that.
Okay, I'll check it out.
It's a platformer, but when you get into combat, it goes sort of. You can go like turn-based like that and choose your next moves and everything.
Okay.
So that's what came to mind when you mentioned it. It doesn't look the same. It's got more of like a Flash sort of art style, rather than like I don't even know what to describe. Your only move is hustle.
Yeah, it looks like somebody drew it in MS Paint.
Yes.
Oh.
So, but it's a lot of fun. So I would definitely recommend that game.
I'm out to. Oh, Steam does the like family share thing, right? So
I do. Okay, yeah, but I have to log in on my deck to his account. I have not done that yet.
I got you. Yeah, I just make sure you knew about it. That's all.
Yeah, we used to have a press account, and we shared it with everybody, and then they destroyed that.
Actually, that's smart. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Why?
It took us forever to get that account, and then we got it, and then like I don't know, like a year after we got it, like they just stripped it of everything. So.
Oh, okay, because that actually makes a whole lot of sense doing it that way. But all right.
All right, so that's what I played this week, with the exception of the big one. So I started playing WWE 2K24. Embargo is tomorrow. I will not have a review in time for tomorrow. We didn't get the game until Wednesday?
Yeah, I think it was Wednesday when we finally got it.
Yep. So I will not have a review in time. Plus, there's some stuff that I'm gonna need to see live on day one before I can write a review. But so the game. Well, let's start at the gameplay. So the gameplay is functionally identical to last year's. There's a couple changes. Some of them are really situational, not really super important. I don't think like you can dive onto a group of wrestlers now. Like you'll see clips every now and then from the real shows where there's like 5 or 6 guys standing on the floor and one guy jumps off the top of a cage or jumps off the top rope and lands on all of them. You can do that now. There's some new weapons that they added. Probably the most significant change is once a match, if you hold down the light attack, you'll start a like a blow trading mini game where you've seen, if you've seen real wrestling matches, you've seen the situations where the wrestlers are across from each other and they're just trading like chops or punches back and forth. So, yeah, they've added a mini game for that where you got to basically hold down the attack button, and at first you can only land it in these like green areas of the circle, and that lands the blow. But as they build up, you'll get a gold area, and the gold area starts very small and grows as you keep trading blows back and forth. And basically, the first person to successfully let go in the gold area will land a stronger strike that will stun the opponent. So that's a pretty cool addition. It's something though that Fire Pro Wrestling has been doing for 20 years, but it's not with a mini game associated with it. But it's a nice addition, and it makes the in-game product mirror the real life product a little more, because those things happen in real wrestling all the time. So elephant in the room, this game still has a whole lot of clipping issues and bullshit. And it's to the point now where I can't fathom why it hasn't been fixed unless they're not fixing it on purpose. And maybe they've decided that having that stuff in the game makes them go viral more frequently and increases the sales of the game. It's the only reason I can think that they haven't fixed this shit yet, because we are like 10 years deep in all of this shit happening in this game. And in multiple engines, right? We've switched engines since then, and we're still having this problem. So I've got a clip. I posted it in the Discord. I'm not allowed yet to post it more publicly than that. But I was having a match. My son and I were having a one-on-one match, and he was Doink the Clown, and I was Drew McIntyre. And we were having an ambulance match, which is one of the new match types this year. They added casket matches, ambulance matches, special referee matches, and another match type that I'm forgetting off the top of my head. That's like a gauntlet match. So we're having this match, and I go to pick up stairs, and I push the button to pick up the stairs, and instead of picking it up, my character like jumps over it, because there's an animation for when you run past the stairs where you like kind of hurdle it. So my character hurdles the stairs, goes into the ring, and then the stairs warp to my hands. And so I'm standing there with the stairs over my hands, and all the clipping just completely breaks. So I'm walking, on the air through the ropes, disconnected from everything. And then finally my son knocks the stairs out of my hand and all the clipping comes back. There were a couple times where the stairs seemed to kind of have a mind of their own and clip through stuff or bounce up into the air. So it seems, last year I mentioned in my review that ladders were like the undisputed champion of breaking the physics. And this year it seems like stairs are the undisputed champion of breaking the physics, because it seems like everything related to stairs in this game just kind of breaks shit.
Everybody's claptrap.
Yeah, basically. So there are weird glitches like that. There's weird glitches like, so I was playing through the showcase mode, which this year is 40 years of WrestleMania. So they pick big matches from WrestleManias, and you play in those as whoever won the match. So if you're worried about spoilers for 35-year-old WrestleMania matches, you'll know as soon as you boot into the match, the character you're controlling is the person that won. But, I had a situation where I got beat in one of the matches. And by the way, it still sucks that in these showcase matches, there are objectives to complete. So it works the same as the showcase matches have worked for several years now, where you play part of the match. They'll give you some objectives to do. You do those objectives, and then it'll give you an objective that's really generic, so you know it's going to transition to live action. So it'll say like grapple your opponent in the center of the ring. And so as soon as you grapple your opponent in the center of the ring, it cuts you to it transitions using that. I think they call it. I don't remember what they called it last year. I can't remember what they called it last year. I'll figure it. Recoil, maybe. That the technology they added last year, where they can sort of seamlessly transition between live action and gameplay. So it'll cut to an in-engine scene of your character setting the other person up for a body slam, for example, and then mid-move it'll transition to live action, and it'll play a live action clip. This year they've got Corey Graves doing all of the basically doing narration over all the live action clips, and I understand why they do it, because they probably couldn't get rights from people's estates for the actual commentary. But it sucks. Like, I would much rather, like, if I'm at a pivotal scene in the Hulk Hogan Andre the Giant match from WrestleMania 3, I don't want to hear Corey Graves talking over it. Like, I would much rather hear the crowd, or I would much rather hear the original commentary as if it was playing out on television or on pay-per-view, right? I don't want to hear Corey Graves narrating about what's happening. Like, he's not doing it as a commentary track either. He's almost doing it like a nature documentary, where he's like kind of talking about what's happening on the screen and kind of doing the, would the Hulkster be able to come back? And like, it's just, I don't know, lame and melodramatic. But anyway, you that keeps happening, right? You accomplish objectives, it goes to live action. You accomplish objectives, it goes to live action. You accomplish objectives, it goes to live action. If you lose, you start the whole thing over.
Yeah.
The whole match
That's
over.
what happened last year with the Cena thing. I hated that.
Every year they've done Showcase so far, they have done this, and it sucks every time.
The Dark Souls of wrestling.
You got to get all of these objectives done, and if you lose in the end, and just like last year, these are not easy. Like, if you play on medium, it is not easy. So you can get cheaped real easy here. And so you have to start all the way over. Well, so I lost in a match and had to start over. And when I hit rematch, right, it takes you back to the beginning of the match, and my character was still laying on the ground holding his back when the match started.
Jesus.
So it didn't even reset my character position when I did the rematch. Which obviously put me off at a disadvantage at the beginning of the match, when the other wrestler just ran over and started kicking me because I was laying on my back holding it to start the match. So that's like a weird issue. There's some other weird problems, and this is partially why I'm saying I need to wait until the game is live to review it, because I tried to go into my faction mode, and it popped up an error message telling me that I needed to accept the EULA, the privacy policy, and the terms and conditions before I could play my faction. And I thought, okay, well, I already did that, but let me try to do it again. So I backed out and went back in, accepted the ULA, all that stuff, and tried to go into my faction. You have to accept the EULA privacy policy and terms and conditions to continue. I'm like, I just fucking did that. So there's a button you can hit that will let you do it. So I hit the button, read through everything, accepted it, tried to go back into my faction. You have to accept the terms and conditions before you can proceed. It took me 5 times to be able to accept everything and get into my faction.
Oh, shit.
So there are a couple community creations online. Nobody's really doing anything yet, not only because it's reviewers playing it, but also because 2K has already come out and said that all of the community creations are going to be deleted when they go live. So nobody's really put anything up yet. But when I tried to go in it the first time, it told me you have to be in the most up-to-date version of WWE Live to be able to access this. Go back to the homepage and click right stick, and it'll update you to the most recent version of WWE Live. So I go back to the homepage. It says in the bottom corner, WWE Live, up to date. Go back in. You need to be on the most recent version of WWE Live to connect to this. Go back to the homepage, up to date. Go back in, still can't get in. I had to completely close out of the game and relaunch it for it to recognize that I was on the most up-to-date version of WWE Live. Again, all of this could be stuff that's only happening because we're pre-release, right? Mm-hmm. But it was definitely weird. Some stuff that I don't think is because it's pre-release is last year, the showcase mode, number one, did an excellent job of the transitions. Like the transitions between live action and gameplay were seamless. Yeah. It was like you didn't even notice. I mean, you noticed obviously, but the match, all the characteristics, everything didn't really change. It was very seamless back and forth between live action and gameplay. This year, it is not. There's some weird. They do cuts at weird times. I had a situation, and this is somewhat of a nitpick, but it also, I think, highlights some of the lack of attention to detail this year compared to last year. So if you remember in Hogan Andre at WrestleMania 3, there's a part where they go out to the floor and Hogan pulls up the mats around the ringside area, and he is going to give Andre a pile driver on the ground with no mats. And the game, Andre reverses it, by the way. The game chooses that part, right after that part, to cut you back to gameplay. But the game doesn't support pulling the mats back. You can't do that. That's not something you can do in the game, is pull the mats back on the floor and reveal the concrete. So you transition from a scene at ringside where Hogan's on the ground and the mat's pulled back, and then you transition to gameplay where Hogan's on the ground and the mat's not pulled back. And it's like, okay, wow. I get it, because you can't do that in the game. But why would you make that point your transition point?
Right.
If you knew that you weren't going to be able to do that, you should have put the transition point somewhere else so it wasn't so obvious. Same thing. So I'm gonna ask this question. I think we've got enough people that watch wrestling in the 80s that you'll get this answer right. The most iconic thing at WrestleMania 3 is what?
When he slammed him.
Okay, so Hogan slamming Andre, right? Yeah. The most iconic thing that happens at WrestleMania 3. One of the most iconic things that happens in wrestling history, period. Guess what? You don't get to play that part.
What?
That part is a cutscene.
Okay.
So, of all the things that you might say, hey, it would be cool in this showcase mode to do some of this stuff, slamming Andre is not one of them. So what they could have done...
That should have been a transition point. Like, what?
Right. So what they could have done is is given you an objective to, grapple Andre in the center and to slam Andre, basically, and then it'll show you the directions that you would need to do it. No, they don't do that. It happens in the transition with Corey Graves talking over top of it.
Wow.
And so again, it's like, it's not the end of the world, and I'm sure there'll be some people that think I'm nitpicking. It just shows a lack of attention to detail compared to the Cena one last year, which I thought got most of that stuff really right. The transitions all made sense. They were done in smart ways. And this game it feels like kind of missed the boat on that. A couple other things. I know Ken will be excited to hear that the WrestleMania 6 main event between Ultimate Warrior and Hogan is in the game.
Dude, I went wild when I finally got to see that match.
Yeah. So that's in there. There are some matches that I'm glad that they included. They don't include a match from every WrestleMania, by the way. So there are some WrestleManias that get skipped, which is a little weird because some of the WrestleManias that get skipped, they could have put matches in from wrestlers who are in the game, but they don't. So it actually starts with WrestleMania 3. You get nothing from WrestleMania 1 or 2 in the game. So you get 2 matches from WrestleMania 3. I won't spoil all the matches here because I know people want to see them themselves, but I do like the fact that they included Steamboat Savage from WrestleMania 3, which is one of the great matches of all time. You get several matches, from WrestleMania 5 as well. I won't spoil which ones those are. So here's where it's hard for me to talk about this game without talking about the ongoing shit that's happening in WWE.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but I thought it was going to be put out a shitty game so they can...
Yeah, no, and the game...
Ignore that.
I do want to make it clear that the game plays really well, just like last year. It does have some of the same problems as last year, but it does play really well.
Well, it's usually the bugs, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So, the reason in addition to the fact that, in my opinion, it should be brought up anytime WWE's name is brought up, the other reason that the controversy is valid here is because they actually removed playable characters from this game based on the Janelle Grant lawsuit. So, Vince McMahon has been a playable character in these games for a long time. He's not a playable character in the game. Brock Lesnar has been a playable character in the game for a long time. He is not a playable character in the game, except he is playable in the showcase mode because they included the Brock Lesnar Undertaker match where Lesnar ended Undertaker's streak. So they took Lesnar out because they felt like everything happening with that lawsuit is too controversial for players to be able to play as him. But they didn't take him out of the one mode where you are forced to play as him if you want to advance. Which is just like, either take him out or don't take him out. Now, from my perspective, I don't think he should be in there. People will argue with me about that. Whatever. He shouldn't be in there. They shouldn't have him as a playable character, just like they shouldn't have Vince McMahon as a playable character. But some of the because this has made its rounds online. The fact that Vince is also in the showcase, by the way, because for those of you who know, at the end of WrestleMania 17, Rock, Stone Cold, Vince McMahon helps Stone Cold Steve Austin beat The Rock, and so that is in the showcase mode. And some people have kind of said, hey, Lesnar beating Undertaker at Mania is one of the biggest, WrestleMania moments of the last 20 years. It has to be there. You can't take it out. Same with Vince McMahon turning on Austin. That Austin Rock match is a huge main event. How can you not have that in the game? And if you have it in the game, you have to have Vince because he's a key part of the finish. So that got me thinking. And it's a little hard because as I'm going through this, it's like, okay, so this match, I'm playing as an accused sexual assaulter. This match, I'm playing as a racist. This match, I'm playing as a racist. This match, I'm playing as a homophobe. Oh, I get to play. I get to play as a homophobe again. This match, I'm playing as someone who was arrested for beating his wife, and it starts to make it really clear that when you start to tug at these strings about people who should or shouldn't be in, most of them are pretty inextricable from WWE's history, and I think that should probably tell you something about WWE's history.
Yeah.
So that obviously is patently obvious as soon as you boot it up, and it's more obvious now because of the stuff with Lesnar and Vince, and the fact that they saw fit to pull them out of being able to optionally be played with, but not if you want to finish the showcase mode, which is just a baffling decision. Some other stuff, because I know I've been talking for a long time. They still do the goofy shit where, so I know I'm going back to Hogan Andre a lot, but it's a big match. But you know, I'm playing Hogan Andre, and you got Andre the Giant sprinting around ringside and like climbing up on the top rope to jump off, and it's like, come on, man. WrestleMania 3 Andre did not have the knees to climb the ropes, period. So don't have WrestleMania 3 Andre running around the ring and climbing the top rope to jump off. There are some weird the qualifying conditions don't always trigger, and this was a problem last year too, and actually the year before as well. So for example, one of my objectives in the game was to hit my finisher. But what they don't tell you is that a charged finisher doesn't count. So there are charged finishers where when the other person's down on the ground, you can hit the finisher trigger, and it basically makes them stand up. And as soon as they stand up, they take your finisher. That apparently doesn't count. It has to be a regular standing finisher in order for it to count as a take your finisher or give your finisher objective. I had a situation earlier. Where multiple situations earlier, actually, because the objective stuff happens in the career mode as well. I had multiple situations earlier today where my objective was, grapple this person in the center of the ring, grapple this person in the corner, and it wouldn't trigger until like my third grapple, and then it finally triggered. So maybe some of that gets ironed out in a patch. I'm guessing the terms and conditions stuff and the WWE Live stuff gets ironed out in a patch when it actually launches. But some of the other stuff is it's going to be there. It's just going to be. So, I mean, outside of that, I mentioned the career mode. Just like last year, you've got two career modes, one for female superstars, one for male. The women's side is basically like hey, you start at this indie promotion and get a chance to join WWE. The men's side is super weird. It's like Roman Reigns, ahead of his SummerSlam match against Cody Rhodes, decides he's just going to leave for Hollywood and vacate the championship. So they do a one-night tournament, and your wrestler is like a no-name guy that's been working Raw for a couple months, and he wins the one-night tournament and wins the championship. And then it plays on out from there. That's just sort of the first couple matches. It's exactly the same, not story-wise, but it's exactly the same setup as last year's career mode. You have a hub, you have a social media thing on your phone. In between matches, you basically just turn to one or two or three people that you can talk to in between matches, and then you play the next match. You have objectives. The game will cut you off, right? So if it wants you to, get pinned, or if it wants the match to stop halfway through, it'll give you an objective and say, throw this person in the top right corner. And when you throw them in the top right corner, you lose control. The game takes over and shows you a cutscene, basically, of what happens next. All of that was in last year's game. It's in this one too. There's a ton of wrestlers in this game. I mean, a ton. Guys that you wouldn't even expect to be in there, but they're in there. Anybody got questions about the wrestlers that are in it? Like, anybody curious if anybody's in it?
The only one I was curious about is if Jade made the list, but I kind of feel like she'll probably be DLC.
She did not. She's going to be in the DLC. They've already she's one of the DLC wrestlers they've announced. Yeah, so she's not in the base game.
Yeah, I did, because I looked at the roster list and I saw it was hella people in there.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Man, yeah, and I saw that they had taken out Lesnar from being playable. but I didn't realize he was still in the showcase.
The only thing that drives me nuts about these games is being someone who plays them just to relive my childhood nostalgia of the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Do they not let you do, like sometimes some characters, they have, like, the multiple eras, like Taker from when he was first introduced, and then the biker and all that crap. But they never do it for the warrior.
Well, so you'll be happy this time. They do have two different warrior attires.
Is it the fucking red, white, and blue one again?
No.
Okay.
So it's the orange and blue warrior paint from WrestleMania 5 when he fought Rick Rude.
Uh-huh.
And the WrestleMania 6 warrior paint with the orange, pink, and yellow and black. When he also had the painted warrior symbol on his chest.
But still no trench coat one?
No.
Okay. Like, he had some wild shit, like, after he became champion, even to the point where he wouldn't even put the face paint all over his face. He just had the little icon on his cheek and shit. I'm like, God.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't do the full face paint for a while, and then, like, he did the trench coat era, which when he couldn't wrestle all that well because he was fucked up.
Yeah. I will say that the paint does come off, which is cool.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is cool. Yeah.
So but yeah, I mean, so they do the multiple eras stuff.
It's always for Hogan and Taker and Rock and.
Well, and I haven't quite figured out what the. I guess the difference is when they want to change someone's ratings, they give them a separate entry in the superstar list. So, like, Stone Cold Steve Austin has 3 entries in the list. There's Stone Cold Steve Austin as if he was wrestling today. Stone Cold Steve Austin 01 and Stone Cold Steve Austin 97. And they're all 3 separate entries in the list. They all have different ratings. Undertaker's the same way. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different Undertakers here.
Jesus.
So they've got 98, 03, 09, 14, and then, like, today's Undertaker. And again, they all have different ratings. So I'm guessing they put them in as different superstars when they want to have different ratings. But, like, Warrior has 2 costumes. So once you pick Warrior, you can then select a different costume for him.
It's just so weird. Why don't they just do it as costumes? Like, it's.
Yeah. I think it's because they want Stone Cold Steve Austin, for example. The today Stone Cold Steve Austin is an 86, and the 01 Steve Austin is a 96. So Bray Wyatt's the same way. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 different Bray Wyatts here, all with different ratings. 2 different Bret Harts with different ratings. So I think they just want to be able to put people in with different ratings based on the time period, which I can kind of understand, but at the same time, it just crowds up the list, right?
Yeah.
Having to navigate past 5 different versions of The Undertaker or 3 different versions of Hulk Hogan. And by the way, Hogan, so you've got Hollywood Hogan, you've got Hulk Hogan 02 from when he came back, and then you have regular Hulk Hogan, and then regular Hulk Hogan has 3 different attires. Regular Hulk Hogan, WrestleMania 5 Hulk Hogan, WrestleMania 6 Hulk Hogan. And I'm sure there's more, too, because I haven't unlocked all the attires yet. You unlock a lot of those through the showcase.
Is it so hard to change a rating when you switch a costume? Like,
yeah, apparently it is.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, it's John Cena. I forgot about John Cena. Let's go through this list. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 John Cenas here.
You don't see any of them.
Man, that's 7 different colors of armbands.
Well, it's and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are from his in 2020. He during COVID, the COVID WrestleMania, he and Bray Wyatt did a cinematic match where it wasn't a real match. They did weird skits almost. And so you've got the different costumes that Cena wore, including an NWO John Cena included in there. So it's I don't understand. They all took place at WrestleMania in 2020. I'm not sure why they all have different ratings, but whatever. It's a little weird. I'm not sure I understand how they do that. And anyway, I've talked about it long enough. I have not had time yet to go through my faction, which is some bullshit card game stuff that I never care about. But there are some wrestlers that aren't unlocked unless you unlock them in my faction. I don't even know who they are. And I think they're the only wrestlers in the entire game that aren't unlocked if you have the like super fancy edition that gives you the auto unlocks. And by the way, the auto unlock thing this year, it's not, hey, all these wrestlers are, locked behind a virtual currency paywall. We just give you enough virtual currency to unlock all of them. It just unlocks them. So if you buy that pack, just be aware that none of the, sense of progression you get from unlocking stuff by playing the game is going to be there. It's all gone. And maybe you know that, and that's why you're buying the high edition of the game. But just be aware that the unlocker does what it says it's going to do and unlocks everything right off the bat. I will say they have the action figure version of Cody Rhodes, which is cool. And they also, I fought against.
They'll deny him the title too.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Did they bring the John Cena version back? Because I know that was in last year's.
I fought against him in my faction, but nice. I did not. You cannot play as him. So maybe he unlocks as well in my faction. I don't know, but he is not. He's not one of the characters to pick from in the list. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have not touched Universe mode or my GM mode. My understanding is they've made a lot of changes there, which is good for my GM because last year you could only have one. There was only one title, and they've apparently changed that this year, so that's good. I have not messed with those modes yet, so I can't comment on them yet. The Creation Suite seems exactly the same as last year. I don't notice any differences between this year's Creation Suite and last year's. Seems about the same. So, yeah, I mean, that's really it, unless anybody has any questions about stuff I haven't covered.
No, I'm good.
I try to keep my talking of WWE in any sense to a minimum.
Same, yeah. But it's a weird time for this game to be coming out. I mean, I understand why it's coming out. You got WrestleMania coming up in a couple weeks, but it's just yeah, it's not a great positive PR time for WWE right now.
Right.
Is this now 2K in-house developed only?
Is. Go ahead, Terrence.
No, I was just going to say I think it is because I think Ukes, who was doing like the SmackDown and Series, I think they did the AEW series, but you know way more about the ins and outs all that than I do.
Yeah, so you are correct. So Ukes has now done the AEW series. So this is Visual Concepts, who you longtime 2K fans will know used to do NFL 2K, and College Hoops, and
they also do the best Earth Defense Force games currently because Sandlot doesn't do shit, I don't think, anymore. They did Iron Rain, which nobody's talked about it yet. So Helldivers 2 is of big conversation, and if for some reason you can't play Helldivers but are looking for this similar sort of big bug destroying experience, and that's basically where the similarities end. Iron Rain is going to be probably the best experience. It's a bit grittier than Earth Defense Force normally is, and I'm going to be honest, I haven't liked Earth Defense Force's aesthetic since the 360 game, which was like a 60s sci-fi aesthetic. So Ukes did Iron Rain, this more gritty reboot, and it's so different. Like, you are clearly in like Arizona at one point at a gas station that gets overrun by bugs.
You're saying Ukes did this game, not Visual Concepts. Gotcha. Okay.
No. So like I have a lot of love that Ukes stepped in, because I was getting very tired of having Sandlot do the same game over and over and over. I think Ukes might have actually done World Brothers, which is the Minecraft looking one too. Actually,
they did. That one was fun. I played that on.
Honestly, that was another one that because it looks like the designs are based off the Earth Defense Force designs, not the Iron Rain versions. Even though Iron Rain does carry some of the stuff over, it's sort of like Godzilla to Shin Godzilla, the difference in realism. And so I love them. I love that they're doing that. I just wanted to bring that up while I remembered, because no one has mentioned that if you're someone like me, where like Helldivers 2 really isn't an option, like, you can still have fun shooting bugs, and it's multiplayer.
Right.
So I just thought I'd bring that up.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that about Ukes, and them being the ones to not do the same thing over and over again, because the primary criticism of Ukes over the years has been that they do the same shit over and over again.
Well, they might. They've only just joined EDF,
right.
basically. So
I can tell you on the WWE side, they did the same shit over and over again, to the point that the some of the animations that were apparent or that were present in 2K19 were still animations that had existed since the first SmackDown versus Raw game in 2005 or whenever it was, 2004.
Wow.
But but Visual Concepts also, by the way, I should mention, does the NBA 2K series. So you'll be surprised to hear that this game is not a big microtransaction sink like those games are. As a matter of fact, I think the only mode that you can get paid currency for is My Faction, which is the card bullshit mode. And even there, you can unlock things with VC, but you can also unlock it with faction points that you earn through the gameplay. So unless you're like really hard up and love My Faction, you don't have to worry about VC bullshit in this game, which is good. Yeah, all right, that's it.
You sure?
Yeah, I'll have a review up soon that'll include all the different modes, and I'll talk maybe a little bit more about it next week once I play through some of these other modes, if there's anything else to add. I did not play Helldivers this week, which is frustrating as hell because I really wanted to.
I did. I just didn't say it. I forgot, but I totally fought for liberty and democracy a little bit this week. We cleared the planet.
How this is a surprise to me, being in chat and not playing Helldivers at all.
What, say that one more time.
You can see how this is like sort of like surprising that it wasn't brought up with how much you bring it up in chat. As someone that doesn't engage with it, I'm not upset. It's just it's pretty much all you talk about.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot. There's like memes and stuff.
So then it's
people
just
posted,
fucking silence from both of you.
I did not have a chance this week, unfortunately, to play Helldivers because my time had to go towards WWE once I got that. So I plan to play some more this week.
All right. Well, I will wrap this up pretty quick. There's not a lot of stuff to talk about that hasn't already been discussed, but I will keep with the wrestling theme. I did play as John Cena this week.
Oh, yeah, Peacemaker.
Yes.
Forgot about that.
Yes, I checked out Peacemaker in Mortal Kombat 1. He's pretty fun to play. He's got some cool finishing moves. I am still angry at that game, that the grind is so terrible and Invasions is just not that fun. And
it's on like season 4. I saw
it is. It's like they just started season 4, which is the Melina season. Which theming them after characters should be super cool, but then you get into the mode and it's just the same fucking like here's a dude on fire, fight him and probably die kind of bullshit. And the grind is not very fun. I'm also not a fan of the staggering of characters and cameos. Like, so you put the character out, but the cameo's not available as soon as you.
That's to make you want to play every day. That's a shitty move.
Yeah, like the whole structure of this game is just atrocious to the point where like I was complaining again, like how have they not fixed the fatality grind? Like the one
Because they don't
thing.
want to.
Yeah, but it doesn't keep me playing.
Yeah, but you're not everybody.
At the same time, if you wanted to try, like normally people put those grinds in so you can circumvent them with like virtual currency. You can't even do that in this game.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
You
So
just have to
I did
grind
not,
the XP on every single character.
They've sold fatalities previously, like access to them.
No, they
So
sold easy fatality tokens.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
those
one
are still
button or two
still in
buttons.
there. But this is like it doesn't even let you see the move.
Ugh.
Oh, that sucks. It's just the name of it. You gotta buy it
What happened?
No, you don't have to buy it. You have to
or grind.
You
for
have to
it.
grind
Yeah,
your
you gotta earn it.
character. So, like I was telling you, I was maining Smoke. It took me 10 hours to get his second fatality.
Jesus Christ, man.
And remember, there are 30 plus characters in this game.
That's not fun.
No,
Like that's not like who even thought that was a good system? Like
I think they should have done it like I think they did this in 11 or 10. I can't remember. But like when you beat the arcade mode with them, you unlock the second fatality.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, that's
Oh, you know what? Yeah, that was I think that might have been 10. But yeah,
yeah.
that is a perfect way of doing it.
Or bring back the goddamn crypt.
Yeah, the crypt was great.
Invasions.
As long as you weren't on a Switch.
Well, that's true. But invasions.
No, it was great for everybody around you, just not the player themselves. The Switch version's fantastic.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Invasions fucking sucks. It sucks. The story mode in that game, great. Arcade mode,
Yeah.
pretty fun.
It
Got
was
some
a great
cool endings.
story.
Invasions where you have to grind everything to unlock it, fuck off. $5 for
Yeah, I
a
need-
retro costume, fuck off.
Jesus.
I'm not paying, and I'm not playing either. So, it's so bad because the game plays so good. It's the best playing Mortal Kombat in the 3D era, bar none.
Mm-hmm.
It just, super disappointing. Also played Penny's Big Breakaway. This is the most Anthony game I've ever played in my life. This game.
I mean, it's made by the Anthony ass developers.
Oh, it's so good. You need to play it.
It's headcanon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's basically it's basically their
It's
Sonic Mania
Mania.
3D. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, that it's not the time now, but I will play it.
Yeah, I love so basically the hook to this is like you have a yo-yo and you can use the yo-yo to swing. You can use it to ride around on like a rocket robot on wheels. You can use it to do like different platforming style stuff. You do not have a controllable camera, like it has an automatic camera, which can take a little bit to get used to. The right stick actually uses the yo-yo in different directions. But just the music, the setting, and the gameplay they mix so well, and it feels like it truly, if you put a blue hedgehog in it, it would feel like a 3D Sonic game, like a really good one. So,
I mean, the 3D sections in Sonic Mania, despite being as basic as they are, because they're sort of emulating the Sonic CD levels, are my favorite part of Sonic Mania. It is the best bonus stage. The whole concept was go fast, and then the art style sort of looked like what you got on Sega Saturn. Like, 3D wise, I don't know. Like, I was already sold by the fact that like these guys made Sonic Mania and it's 3D and their 3D stuff was great. But
yeah, this game is
just, when you don't want to play a platformer, it's just not the time.
Oh,
That's where I'm
absolutely.
at,
Yeah,
right? So it's like,
absolutely.
if I buy it, I won't play it right away, and I should, or I'll force myself to and not enjoy it as much.
I mean, it can't be as bad as Clive and Wrench. Like, nothing is that bad.
Oh man, man. Okay, so I look at every week, because I'm like a creature of habit. I look at what the new sales are at GameStop, because I still buy physical media, and you know what? This is the reason why I look. They had a bunch of games kind of clearly on clearance. None of them interested me, but they were for like $2 for like a brand new game, and I've taken advantage of that for like PS3 games previously, or very early PS4 games. Like I used to go to EB Games a lot to hunt for deals. Like I got before it was like going on sale, all the time. I got Mass Effect Andromeda, a physical copy, for $15 because they just had extra copies in their warehouse and they were clearancing them. So I looked, and Clive and Wrench special edition is $2, and even then I was like, man, I just can't.
I mean, it's man, that game should have been good, and it just was not.
You know what the sad part is? Like the first level isn't terrible. It's not great. It kind of makes you go, is this some sort of weird Unity game where they've bought assets and like they didn't do anything to them because some of the stuff doesn't look right? Because there was like a pizza slice, I think was what it was, and it was like super photorealistic in comparison to everything else. And I'm like, so you clearly just bought this asset and put it in. Yeah, and then the second level was just this big confusing maze, and I was like, I hate the combat, and the platforming is not fantastic, and I just don't know how it fell apart so quickly. But I just couldn't get any further. I was like, I can't play this. This is bad.
Yeah. We already talked about Dark Forces. I love that game. It's great. The only indie game that really stuck out to me this week was a game called Dead End City, and it's basically if you took Spy Hunter and put it and made it like Galaxian or Galaga, and then you made it run based. It's pretty fun. Like Spy Hunter and Galaga. It's pretty fun, pretty cool combination. I went back to Final Fantasy 16 after playing a shitload of Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. What the fuck happened with that game? I would love to read a story about what happened to that game, because as I was saying in chat this week, like the combat is good. Like the combat is fun. But holy shit, they do not shut up. Like those cutscenes are forever. And it's not like there's a cutscene and you enjoy it. And, like a lot of it is just really drivel and long drawn out conversations about like really nothing except for like it's trying to be Game of Thrones, but it's like we got Game of Thrones at home kind of shit. And then
Definitely
like
get those vibes.
The thing that kills me about the game itself, like the structure, like the combat's fun, but then they're like, all right, well, we're going to travel to this new area, and you basically have a map that, oh, shocker, looks like the Game of Thrones map. And, you travel to the area you're going to go to, and then if you got to go to a new area, they're like, travel across this sprawling world that has one fucking dirt path that leads to the town. Like, there's no exploration. Like, what is this game?
As someone that was really into the hype of Final Fantasy 15, and I mean, I did not have hype until maybe a week before that game came out, when I was like, oh my god, you know what? I'm gonna buy it, because then I found out it was open world, and that really interested me, and I wanted an RPG, and it was like perfect timing. So I bought it, and then I bought the soundtrack, and then I bought the movie on Blu-ray so I could have the anime on like a hard copy, because that was the only way to get the anime. I got the art book. It's weird for me to not see that happening with Final Fantasy 16. Like it's just not there.
It was like a fart in the wind.
This is like the first one. Yeah. Like this is the first time I feel like that's been a thing with a mainline Final Fantasy.
It hasn't felt like this since 12. If you remember, 12 was kind of overshadowed because it came out on PS2 after like the 360 came out.
Yeah, but 12 still has a fan base sort of built in because that's the Tactics universe.
Sure, and I'm
Right,
sure
so
16 will have a fan base at some point.
Oh, I'm sure of that. I'm sure they always do, but I'm just saying, like, there was always going to be some group of people talking about it enough where I feel like you would have, like, I heard about it and I had no interest in Final Fantasy 12. You know what I mean? Like, my
Yeah.
friends who are not into video games in the same way, but still like them, they played it.
Like the conversations around 16 were all solely it's only on PlayStation, and then after it came out, nobody talked about it at all.
Yeah,
I feel
which
like
is wild.
I think broadly you're probably correct, but I feel like after the demo there were a lot of people talking about it because I know the I own the game now. I have not yet played it, but I really enjoyed the demo, and I don't like Final Fantasy. And I feel like there were a decent number of people after the demo came out that were like, "Shit, this was pretty good."
Yeah, no, I remember the demo.
And then-
Like, I'm not saying there wasn't a hype up to it. I'm just saying, like, there's no Square Enix really, really milks their franchises, and I just don't feel like they're doing anything with 16.
Well, they've completely shut that 16 off, especially now that Rebirth is out. Like, Square doesn't even talk about 16. It's just a weird game, and you're right. Like dude, Final Fantasy 13 had 2 sequels.
And oh god, what was the other thing? They also had
They had the Prada bags or whatever, the style.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So, like, there was that. You know, the MMOs are MMOs. That I'm not gonna hold them to the same thing. But, like, yeah, all the other games except for maybe, you know, one, which is very different game altogether. You know, have these fan bases that buy merchandise for the characters and stuff, and they send me emails. Square Enix, they don't send me emails about that. They send me emails about, like, Final Fantasy VII merchandise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Before this new one came out too. Like, they don't talk about it in the same way, where it's just like, I never seen them sort of not try. Is, like, that the good way to put it?
It's weird, man. It's a weird game.
Well,
that it's not even a year old yet.
No, it's not. I don't know. I liked the demo. But
I'm not saying it's a bad game.
No, it's not a bad game. It's just, yeah.
I see what you're saying with the talkiness, and there's a lot of stuff that's not necessary because there's, again, the demo goes up to, because you're, I'm sure, further than this, Clive's youth, and you have a fight with the, like, summons, so it kind of ends.
Oh, I'm way past that. Like, I'm like 10, 15 hours into it, so.
Okay, yeah, so it is. Well, I just wanted to give you an idea of what I've kind of seen so far, when I say this. But so there's a lot of parts that feel like where you talk about where you're fighting and it gives you combat and you take 2 steps and you're in a cutscene, and that does happen a lot. And it's like, you could just let me continue controlling the character and run, and we just have this conversation while we're moving. Like, it stopped for us to take 2 steps and look at something over a cliff, and for him to have this conversation with the commander or whatever, and then it goes back to us running on the way. Why did we need to stop to make that a cutscene? Like, for what? Like, I don't understand. Like, it didn't do anything extra with the stuff. That just wastes. I don't know. It pulls you out of the game. So I definitely see what you're saying, and it does very much feel like Game of Thrones we have at home, but kind of dug what I saw. Like, I actually didn't skip the cutscenes because I was like, oh shit, oh shoot, okay, what's this? They got palace intrigue. Okay,
I felt
was
the
into
same way about the demo, Terrence. I enjoyed it very much, enough that I ended up asking for it. My wife got it for me for Christmas. I have not played the rest of the game yet. I think probably my gap here is I assumed that most of the recent Final Fantasies were like that.
No, they're not.
No.
Like, this is the first one that's like this.
I think you can say the last one of the second generation of Final Fantasy, that sort of PS1, 2 era, is 10, right? because 12 goes back, does the tactics world for the first time. It's completely different than the old style Final Fantasy 11 MMO, right? 12.
Yeah, because 12 was more like 11 with like
HD, but has some weird new fighting system and is linear for the first good portion of it. It gets 2 sequels though. Then 15 is an action RPG open world monster hunting fishing game.
Photography as well, my friend. You forgetting about the photography.
I just meant with respect to the going to cutscenes all the time.
No.
15 doesn't do that.
No. Yeah, 15 doesn't.
Yeah, I knew the gameplay was different. That's the only reason I like this one.
Oh, okay, fair. Yeah, fair enough.
No, I meant the interrupting stuff to go to a cutscene all the time. I assumed that was common in the series because I don't.
That's new.
I don't play them.
That's a 16 thing.
It's not even necessarily just going to a cutscene, but going to a cutscene for a very unimportant conversation.
Yeah, like it was not necessary to pull it out of the gameplay to make it a cutscene. Like, why we got to stop and look at this cliff and be like, "Well, we have this nigga. We could have kept running." Like, yep, the sun looks great. Like, what the hell? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and it's a weird game, and it came to me just now. You know what this game feels like? You remember back in the 360 era where they were making a shit ton of Final Fantasy like games? Like Infinite Undiscovery and The Last Remnant. This is what that game feels like. Yeah, I brought it up. I done brought it up.
I was like, man, Infinite Undiscovery.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, that's what this feels like. It feels like it doesn't feel like a Final Fantasy game. It feels like, I mean, I understand why Wombat likes it. He's a Mystic Quest person, like the game that is most.
Don't do Mystic Quest dirty like that. Everybody keeps throwing under the bus. Wombat's the only one, but you're right.
It's not a Final Fantasy game in the same sense.
It's a good. Hold on, if you buy into their propaganda and that it's supposed to be a beginner's RPG, it does a good job of that.
That's fine, but it's not. It doesn't feel like a Final Fantasy game.
I'm sure if you played that game first and then went into one of the other Super Nintendo Final Fantasy games, you would feel familiar enough.
Sure. I don't know. It's weird. I'm going to keep playing it because I got new controllers to play it with. So I'm playing with them Victrix controllers, which are super fucking nice. Those things are so nice. All right. Wow.
Did it improve your Overwatch game or no?
I don't play Overwatch with anything but my controller because I'm so comfortable with it. But I'm gonna try to wean it in a little bit.
Man, you know this nigga professional. He like, look, I only play with my controller when I'm playing this. Like a pool player that got their own cue. Like I gotta work this one in, get the grooves just right.
Dude, I take my Overwatch play very seriously. I need to be at full goat, I gotta be there.
I got you.
That's my game, even though
I can't believe I'm defending Ken here, but I understand Ken. It's not the same. Like there's certain controllers for certain games.
That's 100% correct. Yes.
Like a little bit more wear on the analog. Oh, I'll use that for my sort of general gameplay, and then the one that's still like nice and sensitive, you just use that for your first-person shooter.
I've got my Vampire Survivors controller. I've got my everything else controller. Like my Vampire Survivors controller is the one that's just like, yeah, it's a little run down. It's not as nice. Yeah. All you gotta do is move the analog stick. You're fine.
I don't need much.
Use my Steam controller. I need to set it up so that I can just hold my finger on the touchpad, and have it continue moving, so I can just kind of use it as the point of where to go.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
The current way, I had to keep taking my finger off of it to move them. I had to keep swiping, so it didn't work.
Oh Lord. Yeah, I booted that up this week. I don't think I saw any of the new content yet. So. All right, let's move on because holy shit. New releases this week. We've got Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, Bang on Balls Chronicles, next gen version. Classified France 44, Expeditions, a Mud Runner game, Mediterranean Inferno, The Outlast Trials, WWE
Looking forward to
2K20.
that.
WWE 2K24 Deluxe Edition out on Tuesday, full edition out on Friday. 10 Seconds to Win, Cat and Ghostly Road, Hex Gambit Respawned, Revel, Abyss Build to Destroy, not like Abyss, but Abyss.
They're just making up shit names to make your life miserable, Ken.
I don't know
At
what
this
you're,
point,
I don't know what you're talking about. The next one is Dreamland Solitaire Dragon's Fury. Taxi Life, a city driving simulator, the Top Racer collection, Eld Gear, which sounds like an AI made up a game that was Elden Ring and Gears of War or something. Unicorn Overlord is out on Friday. What else we got for PS5 and Series X? I think that's... No, As Dusk Falls makes its way to PlayStation this week.
Sorry, was that Eld Gear? E-L-D?
ELDGEAR. Yep, Eld Gear.
It's a Chemco joint. It's a
Oh,
Chemco joint.
fuck off. Did you see that they made a collection of all the Chemco games on Xbox and it was like $200 or something because there's like 500 RPGs in there? It's crazy.
Jesus.
Dude, they release a new RPG every week. I'm just saying. Whatever happened to Ratalaika? Do they still put out stuff? Maybe they do. I don't know.
They're all RPG Maker games,
Yes.
and I'm not against that, but they all kind of look like they're RPG Maker games.
Yes, they do. PS4 and Xbox One, it's pretty much the same, minus a few games. But we've also got Shadows Over Loathing and Manic Mechanics, which they sent me a code for that. I don't even know what that is.
Manic Mechanics.
Manic
All right.
Mechanics. I don't like. They sent me a code, and it's from a PR company that I actually, like working with. They do good stuff. But like, I didn't even look to see what it was.
Oh, it's 4J. 4J
That mean-
Studios.
Oh, the Minecraft. The people that work on some of
the
Minecraft.
Perfect Dark Banjo-Kazooie porters. Yeah.
Huh. Maybe I'll redeem that code. I don't know.
Let me just see. Co-op Mechanical Mayhem.
Okay.
It's time to dust off your overalls and hitch on your tool belt mechanics, a chaotic couch co-op game where you and up to 3 fellow grease monkeys serve the car-obsessed residents of Octane Isle. So it's a overcooked sort of thing.
Maybe I won't redeem that code. All right. I'm so glad Anthony is here. Ready for the Switch?
Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. Nintendo Switch. There's a big release this week, Anthony. We're going to talk about it. I'm gonna try to find a way for us to play this game and talk about it.
Is it a big release?
Oh, well, that depends on who you ask.
I don't like that answer. I was not prepared. Okay.
All right, we're gonna kick it off with Crazy Goose Simulator.
I really hope it's not that one.
No, it's not that one, but it's the literal next title. Drum roll, please. Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, the definitive edition.
Fuck, no.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to try to get codes?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Let's fucking do this.
Too. Fuck it. Sure, why not? Hate myself enough.
AEW Fight Forever Giant Swing in the Ring. Must be DLC.
What the hell is that?
It's DLC.
Oh.
That's the Cesaro DLC, or the not Cesaro, Claudio DLC.
Oh, okay.
Berserk Boy is out this week. I'll talk about that game next week.
I played the demo of that, by the way. I don't remember if I talked about it last week. That game is rad, but it's not as rad as Gravity Circuit.
Not much is, to be fair.
Yeah.
Hellstuck, Rage with Your Friends. Hex Gambit Respawned. Ancient Weapon Holly. That sounds like a horny game.
Astro sound like a horny game.
Astro Duel 2. Become the Wild. Chip and Charge. Metal Mind. Wombat's Game of the Year, Snufkin, Melody of Moomin Valley.
Yeah, that game's corny. Anthony can't convince me any different.
It was a weekly comic strip in newspapers. What's wrong with you?
Man, that little
All
creeper
I'm
in the
saying-
water. I was like,
Yeah.
what's happening here?
Old onion head in the water.
Yeah.
You got
those aren't. I don't
the
believe those
pantless
are.
dog hippo.
Okay, so the pantless dog hippo is Moomin. How dare you?
Okay.
You need to
All
get
I'm
on
saying
the
is
fan.
troll.
All I'm
It's
saying
a
is
troll.
Moomin and the dude in the hammer pants they're sharing some lusty eye contact.
All right, moving on.
That's all I'm saying.
This is just taking children's content and making it gross. This is not nice.
No, it's taking the content that they put out and pointing out its grossness.
Oh, man.
TV studio story, Bubble Fresh Fruits, Buggy Off-Road Racing, Car Racing Ice Classic. That's a fucking word jumble. Date Journal, Opus Echo of Star Song Full Bloom Edition, Stolen Realm, Tokoyo, The Tower of Perpetuity. Who the fuck named that?
It's a great question.
Toon Roads Race and Drift, Warhammer 40,000 Daka Squadron, and Zaxstrom Command? Sure, we'll go with that. Hey, next week Contra Operation Galuga's out. I'm pumped for that shit.
I played that demo. I forgot about that. That was,
Yeah.
it was Contra.
That's
That
fucking
was good.
Contra with perks. We'll see how that plays
With
out.
perks. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun, though.
All right, let's do some news. Nintendo got them lawyers out since they delayed the Switch. They're like, all right, let's have a lawsuit. They are suing the Yuzu Switch emulator creators. According to them, Tears of the Kingdom was downloaded 1 million times before it even released.
Yeah, that number doesn't surprise me if it's accurate.
Which is crazy because it was downloaded 1 million times and still sold like 40 million copies. What the fuck? God damn.
Yeah, I don't think.
Well, they're countersuing. Yuzu got a lawyer and they're countersuing. So.
Okay, but it's not. This is not one of those situations where like enough of the program is original that it's like it still needs certain elements that you'd have to provide or download online to get it to work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a current system again. Like it's not like they're suing you for like Dolphin's not being sued. It plays Wii and it plays GameCube games. And it's still around because it wasn't going for them contemporarily competing with. So it's like I understand Nintendo's point. Like I don't really have whoever wins, we lose something potentially. So I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Pokemon Legends ZA reveal trailer was this week. Launches in 2025. The most interesting note about this game is that it said it's coming to Switch systems. Plural.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Super Switch.
Super Switch is coming. And according to Nikkei, Switch 2 is targeting a March 2025 release to avoid a hardware shortage. They also expect another hybrid console with a bigger screen. I truly think this is the Switch Pro. Like, I think it's just going to be a more powerful Switch at this point.
Really?
That's what I think it is. I don't know that they're going to do anything different with this console, other than make the screen bigger, make it more powerful.
We're talking one of their few actual incremental upgrades.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they said they're targeting something between the Steam Deck and the Xbox Series S in power.
Which the Series S there's no way you could do that with a handheld because the power draw is just too much. So
right.
Yeah, I think it's probably a little less than the Series, which that's still pretty good for a Nintendo system.
Yeah, I mean Steam Deck runs. I played Baldur's Gate 3 on Steam Deck.
Yeah, so like I think a bunch of these games that we're seeing announced are definitely coming to Switch. They're just coming to the Super Switch.
Yeah.
There's a new emulator for the Virtual Boy for the 3DS called Red Viper. That's a good name. It's a good name.
That is a good game. It isn't what's the game that's like that?
Red Alert.
Yeah.
Toys for Bob is going independent after 19 years under Activision. They're currently exploring a partnership with Microsoft. And boy, did Jim Cat and the Xbox guys have a field day with this thing.
Man.
Woo.
Golly, I saw some of that.
Y'all need to calm down.
Right?
You got some problems going on out there, especially for somebody who's given up on Xbox. Why do you care? I'm all for it. Like, Toys for Bob independent, fuck yeah, we'll make some great games. Put them on everything. I don't give a shit.
Honestly, if you gave them... they're kind of like Way Forward, where if you give them a license even, they're probably going to do good work.
They did that fucking Disney skateboarding game, which was excellent.
I played that.
Yeah. I've been to their offices, man. They're good people. They make great games. All right, what else we got? Last holiday, Ethan Gach heard from sources that Media Molecule and London Studios were the most likely candidates for an entire closure. And today, Sony announced that London Studios will be shutting down. PlayStation laid off 900 people, 8% of its workforce. They include all 3 regions. PlayStation London Studios shut down entirely, and layoffs came to Insomniac, Naughty Dog, Gorilla, Firesprite, like everybody got hit. They canceled a bunch of games. One of those has been confirmed as Firesprite's Twisted Metal. Games as a service. Herman Hulst was quoted in saying, delivering and sustaining social online experiences, allowing PlayStation games to explore our worlds in different ways, as well as in launching games on additional devices such as PC and mobile, requires a different approach and different resources. And then he posted an Instagram photo of him surfing.
Okay.
Sorry, I just found that really tasteless after you lay off 8% of your people.
Yeah, it's
right? Like,
terrible.
Hi guys, like, what kind of mess?
Yeah.
I miss Japanese run PlayStation.
Well, I mean, it is now, right? Because the guy that took over for Jim Ryan is that guy that did that interview last week that we talked about.
But remember when I still think their headquarters are in America, right?
Well, yeah,
the shift from PS3 to PS4.
Yeah, that might be the case. Yeah.
Yeah, which is also why the Japanese employees that got laid off get like a whole bunch of career services and a whole bunch of help finding new jobs, and the American ones are basically just shit out of luck.
It's fucked up, that picture that was floating around of Jim Ryan at London Studios like 5 days ago.
Yep, that's what happens when you have good labor laws in your country.
Yeah. It's wild, man.
People get protected from shit like that. But
PlayStation's VP of product management said the PlayStation Portal has continued to exceed our expectations. Said the Portal was never planned as a dedicated handheld, and we did not want to ask for any additional work from the game creators to achieve this goal. I mean, that thing, I guess, is still selling.
Which is crazy because it's like, I don't know why people are buying it.
Like, it's literally only works in like your house or something, right? Or
yeah, connected to your PlayStation, I think.
I don't know, man. Like, it literally like
you can't bring it anywhere that needs you to sign in to, like, you could play it at a friend's house or maybe in a hotel, which would be probably awful. But you need to have it so you can't, because if the hotel requires you to go into a browser, it can't open a browser window.
Correct.
I don't know, that device just seems super limited, and I see it like Wario tweet like, hey, it's available at Amazon. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah, I see that too, and it's like it's back in stock, and I'm like, what? Who is buying this? Like, why? Whatever.
I don't know, man. It's crazy. Neil Druckmann said he doesn't think he has many more big games left in him, which is crazy because, like, if he only has like 1 or 2, that's still like another 16 years of work, sir.
True story.
Like, goddamn. PlayStation Plus essential games for March 2024 include F1 23, Sifu, Hello Neighbor 2, and Destiny 2: The Witch Queen. What is going on over at Sony? Sony is crazy right now. Sony studio Firesprite has been accused of toxic work culture, including crunch, sexual discrimination, and ageism from 2 senior leaders from the Sony XDev team, an alarming number of people who left the studio. Man, Sony is in a bad place right now, like internally it seems. And then according to Jason Schreier, the Horizon multiplayer game is still in development. It's okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah. New releases. Let's see what we got this week. We got Real Fishing is making a comeback. It's called Days of Summer. Guess when it comes out? Oh, that's right, summer. It's coming to everything.
Okay. I'm gonna be looking that up.
Yep. Real Fishing is back, which is crazy. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Arcade Wrath of the Mutants was announced for April 23rd. What else we got on here that's interesting? Limited Run Games is doing a physical version of High on Life. Wombat's Booty Cheeks game of 2022.
Yeah.
Just about to say that.
Arrowhead CEO confirms Helldivers 2 sold around 3 million copies and reached around 800K concurrent players.
Awesome.
Age of Mythology Retold launches 2024 on Xbox and PC, also coming to Game Pass day 1. And an expansion for Age of Empires 2, Victors and Vanquish launches March 14th.
Isn't Age of Empires 2 old as shit?
Yep, but they did a remaster of it a few years ago, and now that's on Xbox as of... It came out in 2023, I think.
So it's an expansion for the remaster?
Remaster.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
When they launched the remaster, it launched with an expansion too. So this is the second expansion.
Dragon Ball Fighter Z is getting a Series X and PS5 version that launched on February 29th with a free upgrade for people who already own the original. Greedfall launches this summer, but it's early access on Steam.
Yeah.
That's so lame.
That is lame.
But
you know what? Baldur's Gate launched into early access, so
for like 3 years, didn't it?
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get a similar level of success from Greedfall 2.
Motherfucker, you are asking a lot of them spiders. Like, come on.
I'm being sarcastic as much as anything.
Terminator.
I am looking forward to Greedfall 2 for sure.
When it's out, not like when it's in early access.
Yeah.
Terminator Survivors is coming October 24th, also to Steam Early Access. Earth Defense Force World Brothers 2 launches May 23rd on PS4, PS5, and Switch in Japan, and September 26th worldwide. As we mentioned earlier, Vampire Survivors Free Space 54 update is out now. We have details for the next for Assassin's Creed Infinity. It will be the core hub for the franchise, a live service aspect with a modern day story. Launches on the same day as Red.
I thought we knew all this already.
Yeah, I think this is just confirming stuff. The Exchange is an item shop where players can buy skins. Some characters have mini battle passes. A new mainline game every 2 years with mini projects between them. Assassin's Creed Red is later this year. Assassin's Creed Invictus, a multiplayer title, in 2025. And Assassin's Creed Hex in 2026. Hex will have a female protagonist and be, quote, the darkest Assassin's Creed game ever. Other Assassin's Creed projects include Obsidian, which is a Black Flag remake, Nebula, which is India, Aztec Empire, and Mediterranean, Raid, which is a free-to-play 4-player co-op PvE, and another remake. They are all scheduled for 2020X.
Yeah, I'm sure Ezio is part of that.
2020X.
Can we just get a fucking Assassin's Creed game that's set in the modern times, please? Can we just get one?
You're not getting that.
No, I want.
They decided when they launched Origins, they decided that historical fiction is where their money's at, and they ain't gonna bring it to the modern day. I mean, they'll have the modern day pieces of the mainline game.
You won't be playing an assassin during the modern.
I don't think you're ever gonna get a modern day game. Maybe they'll prove me wrong,
makes me sad.
I just don't see it happening.
I was like, what if they did be interesting if they did a futuristic one.
Mhm. That was the pitch originally when
well,
Jay
yeah, I knew
Kramer.
that was it was going to end with Desmond becoming an assassin in that weird.
Yeah,
It
you would
was,
play
yeah.
as him as an assassin in the and then oh god, I'm gonna stop.
Hey,
That
remember
sucks,
when they
man.
brought Castlevania to modern times?
Okay, well,
Yeah, let's do that again.
all right.
I thought about it anyways. Ultimately, you'd end up with something that would just be Spider-Man 2099 as a video game if you went too far futuristic. So,
Actually, that's true, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
no, I'm just saying like that's the towers, you'd be just flying between them, and that would be your weird stealth stuff. I don't know. We have Batman already.
Nobuo Uematsu, the composer for Final Fantasy games, said that he doesn't think that he will compose music for another entire game. He would rather use this time for other projects he loves.
He hasn't done a full game in years.
Well, he's not going to do one now.
Okay.
Right, he said, "Don't expect one from me."
Remedy has obtained the full rights to Control, including Control, codename Condor, and Control 2, and all future Control products from 505 games. The discs on the Japanese version of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth are mislabeled. The data disc is actually the play disc, and vice versa. Oops.
Nice.
Whoops.
Reminds me of the Strider 2 discs from the PlayStation 1. They printed the wrong game on the wrong discs.
Strider 1 is on Strider 2's disc. That irritates me so much.
Yep. Crash Team Rumble will get its final content update on March 4th. Servers will stay live. There's a free 500 tier battle pass with 104 new items. And all content from seasons 1 through 3 will be included in the battle pass, and all microtransactions will be turned off.
I mean, if a game's gonna die, at least it dies with some dignity.
Yep. And hey, maybe they'll put it on Game Pass at some point, and maybe get some
That's
people
what I
to
was
play
going
it.
to say. I think they should throw it up on Game Pass too. And I honestly think that I don't know if it's just going to die forever. I think they might come back, like maybe I don't know. I don't know.
Nah, they're not.
It wasn't a bad game.
That's fine, but nobody's playing it except for the guys who are just way too good at it.
Well, and then there's that. Yeah.
According to Kotaku, Gearbox, Borderlands fame, is in final talks to get sold from Embracer to another company. Randy Pitchford, and I love that in this news story, in quotes, magician, told staff in a town hall meeting earlier this week that there will be more info next month.
Always forget he's a magician.
So who do you think they're being sold to?
Tencent. Because that's the one you would not want them to go to. So.
I don't know. I think that's the one where I'd probably want them to go to. I haven't. I'm sorry, Tencent's not like as evil as everybody thinks they are.
Well, here's the thing: Microsoft's not going to buy them because they just got fucked on Activision Blizzard. Like that whole thing is fucked up Microsoft so bad. Sony's not going to buy them because they can't afford it. Like they just dropped that $10 billion loss in value last week and laid off 900 people. They ain't buying it. EA just said they were canceling a bunch of shit and laying off a bunch of people, so they ain't buying it. Ubisoft ain't buying nobody.
Ubisoft's being bought, if anything.
Yeah.
Right. They were.
But I have a feeling Eves will not go down without a fight, and ultimately it'll be sold at auction.
Pretty much.
I can see that. Yep.
I don't know anybody besides Tencent that's gonna buy it. Like.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks it's Microsoft, but Microsoft ain't touching shit right now. I promise you that.
Unless Embracer, with how bad they are for cash right now, is taking a huge loss.
If anything, the only thing I see Microsoft buying from Embracer is Crystal Dynamics at some point.
Yeah, because they're already working on a project.
Yeah, like they're already entrenched in Microsoft's ecosystem, so I would assume that is the only thing. And that's just a developer, that's not a publisher. So I don't think Microsoft touches a publisher right now. No way. Damn, there really isn't anybody left to buy anything, is there?
Mm-mm.
I hope that the next several years see a lot more studios going back independent again, and the deconsolidation of the industry.
Well, that is the next story, now that you say it. Embracer will sell Saber Interactive to a group of private investors for $500 million. Saber will continue its development on Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake.
And isn't Saber? Aren't they the Space Marine guys too?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Good for them.
Here was a funny story from this week. Square Enix's Theater Rhythm, Final Bar, as well as EA's WRC both stopped working on Leap Day.
Oh, I read that. That was messed up.
Like, in the year of our Lord 2024, how do you not plan for Leap Day? Like,
Right.
Yep. Especially when the goddamn. Well, the are you talking about? Sorry, I missed the part. Are you talking about WRC or are you just talking about Theat Rhythm or Theater Rhythm, whatever you call it?
both of them.
Okay, yeah, WRC just came out in October.
Yeah.
How did you not plan 4 months in advance?
I mean, they didn't plan on WRC to actually be played, I don't think.
I guess, yeah, probably. That's probably true.
Rockstar asks employees to return to office 5 days a week as they're entering the final stage of GTA 6 development, and they're concerned about leaks and shit.
This is not. This is so they can lay you off without it being a layoff. Well, you'll have to quit if you can't come in.
Yeah,
right? But they have a bunch of remote workers.
They probably have like a percentage they're expecting to quit. So.
Yeah, but if they quit, it's not layoff, so it doesn't look bad.
Yes. Supermass. Yeah, we're into the layoff section. Deck 9 Games, Life is Strange, True Colors laid off 20% of its staff. CIG, Star Citizen, has reportedly laid off staff. Supermassive laid off 90 people. Wildlife Studios lays off a huge amount of people. That's the third round of layoffs in 3 years. EA is laying off 670 people, approximately 5%.
Say Star Citizen is never coming out. Please stop handing them your money.
I just made a sound. I wasn't even gonna interrupt my man's flow. I just made a sound when he said that. I was like, man, why y'all even still going to work for that company? That game is not coming out. Like, Jesus.
They haven't put out anything, and they're firing staff. Do you not see the problem with how this company is run?
Andrew Wilson, CEO of EA, said the company is moving away from the development of future licensed IP that we do not believe will be successful in our changing industry. They canceled Respawn's first-person Star Wars shooter. They're winding down Ridgeline as a standalone studio, and Battlefield single-player will move to Criterion. From what I hear, the Iron Man and Black Panther games are still in development, but who knows what happens to those.
Nah, they'll launch those because they want that Marvel money.
They probably have a contract that they have to put them out, but
that too, yeah, that too. But yeah, those will probably still come out. I hope those are good.
Also, that rumor floating around that Dragon Age will be out this year. That's funny.
Yeah, no.
That's not happening. No way. 505 Games is closing offices in Germany, France, and Spain. All right, positive news. Stardew Valley has now sold more than 30 million copies.
Crazy. It deserves it, though.
Yeah.
Tekken 8 has broke 2 million. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor sold 500K in its first week. Age of Empires IP has surpassed 50 million.
I've noticed, by the way, when you said Deep Rock Galactic, that game has gotten sort of a resurgence in popularity with Helldivers.
I'm sure it has. Yeah,
having come out as well. Deep Rock Galactic.
Oh yeah, it has.
Well, this is the new. This is the new one. So,
Yeah, no, I know, but I was just saying
the original
one
yeah.
is also getting a boost in popularity because of Helldivers, and I've seen a couple funny, sort of comics and stuff tying the two games together.
Here's a very interesting math equation if you want to try to work this one out. Texas Chainsaw Massacre sold 1.1 million copies, but it has 4.5 million players on Xbox Game Pass.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how many people was playing that. Dag, I should jump back in that game. All right, that means find a match. I liked it. It was good. Me and Amanda played it for a while.
Are you?
How do you feed blood to Grandpa?
Yes, damn it! I forgot we had that.
Balatro apparently got removed from sale on a bunch of digital stores because of like card gambling, which is weird.
Sorry, what game?
Balatro. The card game that came out like last week. It's really popular. Like people seem to love it.
How do you spell that?
Balatro. It's using like actual like 52 card like poker cards.
I've never heard of this game at all.
People love it, man. People are addicted to it.
Yeah, it's been high on the Steam charts.
Huh.
I think that's all the news I got. Just double checking. Yes. Let me check the inbox real quick. There was nothing before the show. And then I do have some tweets. Yep, there goes my email. That's why I don't keep it up during the show, because every time I get an email, it makes that sound. It gets recorded. No emails. All right, let's do these tweets here. Jeremy writes in and says, "Hey guys, I hope all is well. We are sitting on our second fall spring in North Idaho, so real spring shouldn't be too far off. Do you find you play more games in the winter or the summer? I personally go to where the game is. It's a beautiful day outside, or Dragon's Dogma 2. Dragon's Dogma 2 wins."
Same. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, I mean, do you play more in the summer or the winter?
Probably the winter, because I absolutely hate the cold. I can deal with being hot, but I hate being outside in the cold.
Yeah, I play more during the winter for sure.
That's usually when the big boys are out too. Spring, like early beginning of the year and end of the year.
Yeah.
I'd say probably winter, but it's not because I'm indoors most of the time.
I was gonna say,
it's winter because I have time off from work usually.
That's true. Although during the winter there is football for me, so I don't play as much.
Yeah, you do be. Yeah.
I'll probably play more in spring and summer, because during winter my Sunday is just like blocked off. I don't do anything else but watch football. So he says he was also hoping all the old ZTGD folks are well. John, Sophie, Jason, Drew, haha.
Yeah, we still have contact with almost all of them. I think everybody's doing pretty well.
Yeah. I chatted with Jason a couple weeks ago. Oh, I told you he was going to disappear, didn't I?
Yep, he tweeted and then never showed back up again.
Yep. That's what he does.
You called that.
Yep.
He does that shit every time.
I just talked to Killer Wolverine and the Boogeyman the other day. Both are doing well.
Good.
That's good.
Yeah. I know Sophie's still around. I tweeted with her probably like late last year about something. And John hops in the chat every now and then. He's like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Last one comes from Shogun. He says, "So the gaming industry is crashing down. They report on the layoffs."
It hurts inside.
It says, "They report on the layoffs, but what is the real reason so many people are getting fired? Is it no one buying the games, or is it overspending?" It is the latter, sir.
Absolutely.
It's the latter, and it's
like I've said this so many times since last week on Twitter. Video games are changing. This Sony model is not going to work. Like, this shit is not going to keep going. There's literally a reason why Spider-Man was kind of their only game last year, and they don't have any of that caliber this year. That shit is way too expensive. So
and as much as it hurts to say it, the industry is moving towards things on phones.
yeah, and they're all chasing.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time. They're chasing that Helldivers / Fortnite /
It's the Fortnite is where I think Fortnite / Roblox,
yes.
which is
Everybody wants that game,
yeah.
and some people like Warframe has done it.
Mhm.
Was it Team?
They're on mobile now too.
Yeah,
Launched
like
on mobile.
Fortnite has done it. Helldivers, we'll see how long it lasts. Right now it's doing it, but it needs to have legs. So a lot of the like Apex Legends has got it, Overwatch has got it, Call of Duty's got it. Like everybody wants one of those games.
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves is another huge one,
like,
yes.
You don't
Yeah.
understand how big that game is until you wade into those waters.
That game,
like, oh my god.
That game has as many players as the new Zelda game.
Mhm.
So like
Yeah.
put that in your brain for a second. It has like 4 times the amount of players of like some of the biggest Sony games. Like it's huge.
And now with
it's massive.
putting it on the other platforms,
Oh,
like,
it's gonna
that's just gonna
balloon.
blow up.
I wouldn't be surprised if
gonna
that
blow up.
game doesn't hit at least 50 million by the end of the year, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yup. Crazy.
And that's a game that I played for like a week and was like, "No, this ain't for me." Most of the games that people are chasing are not for you and I. Like the gamers that are more into the stuff like Spider-Man, God of War, the Halos, the Gears, like those kind of games.
Don't all of your kids play Roblox?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My son
Yeah.
plays shit out of
Mine.
Roblox. Yeah.
That's pretty much all my son plays.
I'm not even being shitty. Like I'm just that's again absurd. And that's why like Sony spending a bunch of money to make a game console that looks really good and then having to spend the money to make their game console look really good with a video game, like it's just the audience is shrinking for that. You have to go back to we have to make games sort of like games first.
Yeah,
Exactly.
basically
And
the
not these
Nintendo formula
experiences.
for the past 15 years.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
Nintendo never left that. I guess maybe for a little bit during the GameCube era they got dark with stuff, but like
I think they were
not
trying
really.
stuff. But yeah, they didn't really leave that.
You need to spend less money and make more fun, and that's
Remember-
very hard.
Mhm.
Remember, like they had the greatest hits line that were Sony published alone, like Ratchet and Clank, all that, Jack and Daxter, that series. You had like stuff like Dark Cloud 2, The Getaway. Like The Getaway
The
was
Getaway was good.
yes,
The first
and
one. I didn't play the second one.
But if you go in expecting Grand Theft Auto, it is not.
No, it's not. No. Yeah, it's not that.
Well, that's
But
the
then they
problem.
stopped doing stuff like that. They stopped doing stuff like that when, and I'm not saying it's a bad game, but when Uncharted became the thing, everything sort of became like Uncharted.
Yeah, and the thing is like they've kept that going so long that like that's what people expect. But that you can't, like financially, you can't keep doing that game. You can't keep doing The Last of Us. You can't keep doing Spider-Man, and that be the only thing. You just can't. Like
But like even their continuation of like God of War. If you look back at the God of War games on PS2, they look amazing for what they are. But they did that through tricks because the camera is mostly static.
yes,
You can't move it around. So they didn't have to render certain things. And so it could be beautiful. Well, the worlds that they're creating are these big, as much as Uncharted might be linear, there's still areas to explore. You have to see that from all different angles. Like it's more processing power. It can't be this prestige. Yeah. It can't be this prestige thing under the time and the money.
you can't have like we joked about Neil Druckmann earlier, like taking like 8 years to put a game out. You can't do that because the money between all the salaries and the marketing and the development of a game that takes 8 years it's gonna it's gonna balloon way above what that game is gonna make in return.
Yep.
Like, I get that those games are, people talk about them for a long time, but people talk about games that were made by like 2 people for a long time.
Here's one that like is kind of proof of
Thanks,
what
Sure.
happens when you sort of create this big project, and like when it inevitably fails. Haven on PS2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Traveler's Tales ended up being the Lego studio, which they're not bad games, but that's what they ended up doing only. Because Haven was kind of a huge bomb. But it's amazing. You can fly from space onto planets. Like, that's insane.
In the PS2 era, absolutely.
Yeah. But
I
you know
don't
what
even think I
happened?
heard about this game.
Yeah, it's the white guy with the dreadlocks game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's overall not a great game.
No, it is
It's
not.
not.
But the things that it does is impressive. But there's a reason why, like, that studio ended up being the Lego studio. It's how they had to make money, because they took on this project that was just, it ballooned out of size because all the things it was doing took more time, and it's just to me that's like proof that like you keeping it simple is a great way to make money and also like make good games, because the Lego games were mostly good. They just kept making them too long.
Yeah, and then you look at games like, we use Microsoft as a perfect example because they're the biggest culprit of, we're going to take 1,000,000 years to make a game.
No.
Like, Starfield was in development for so long, and that game came out and was like a wet fart.
Yep.
And I'm afraid that's what Hellblade's going to be. Because how long is that game? When was that game announced?
I mean, wasn't it announced like a year or 2 after the first game? Like, it was
probably.
I'm trying to find when it was announced. Damn, you can never find this stuff.
where's it flies?
I know this makes good podcast stuff when I'm trying to Google something.
Vamp.
Indeed.
I'll find it.
But yeah, like, just so many. When was, like, you can say that about all their games, like Fable, Perfect Dark.
Oh,
like,
Yeah.
we still haven't even played these games. And yet,
Nope.
like, a game that came out of nowhere was in everybody's top 10 last year, which was Hi-Fi Rush, which was in development for, 3 years, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Hellblade came out on PS4 and Windows on August 8, 2017, and then it was announced in 2019 December.
So it's been 5 years.
Yes.
For a game that's going to be, what they say, 8 hours long?
Yes.
Yeah, that
It'll
ain't
be
gonna
the nicest
cut it.
looking game.
And it's niche at that, so
Right.
I don't know, man. Like,
Yeah, I mean, how many people even played the first one?
not many. I mean,
it was uncomfortable.
I played it, but I never finished it.
and it's
I
not
don't
that
know. It
long.
just-
And it's on
Oh
Game
wow,
Pass.
okay. Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I don't. Did I buy it? I don't know if I bought. I may have actually bought it, but I know I didn't actually finish that game. I
It
was
might
like,
be.
meh.
It might be the same as what they're saying in the sequel. It's probably about like 8 to 10 hours.
Okay.
And I guarantee you, if you go look at like the data of people that finished that game, it's very low.
Oh yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
it is. I mean, again, it's on Game Pass, and I've never even bothered to download it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the game's fine, but it's never been a game that appealed to me to the point that I thought, oh man, I need to download Hellblade and spend the 8 hours to finish it.
I don't know. It's just weird, man. That like the idea and the Sony like template is what people chased for a long time, and I think it was a bad thing to chase.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, not every game
Absolutely.
needs to be like that. That's the thing. Is like
But unfortunately,
some games
that's
are
the
great that way.
yeah, but
but
that's
not
the
every game
expectation
needs
they've
to do
set
that.
for themselves. which is why we don't see stuff like The Getaway or Dark Cloud or Legend of Dragoon, because they don't do. Do you know how much Sony hates Days Gone? Because like it wasn't of the caliber of the rest of their stuff.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. That model, it always made me nervous because I'm like, not every game can be God of War 2018. There's just no way. Like, production value wise. Like, you look at the stuff Nintendo does, and production value wise, it's usually solid, but it's not like blow your mind impressive. They just nail, and you go back to that Bungie quote from a million years ago, when you nail that 30 seconds of fun, you got it. And so many of these games that spend all that money don't get it. Like, I don't know, man. It's weird.
I just think that, like, there's always going to be a Mario game. So if you just make a platformer that's like Mario, it's not fantastic. It's what you change that makes it interesting. And I don't think that a lot of these people that were trying to go for, you know, the Sony formula of like super photorealistic characters and sort of that action adventure gameplay. I don't think they did anything interesting enough too.
No, I agree. Sorry, I got something in my throat. But that's it. That's all I have for tweets and emails. If you want to send us an email, it's podcast@ztgd.com. If you want to tweet at us, it's at ZTGD Radio on Twitter. I will never say X.
Clicks.
Phoenix Down, newest episode went live this past Friday for Greedfall. So go check that out. And I think that's all I got for this week. So unless anybody has anything else, we can wrap this bitch up.
See y'all next week.
Peace, bitches.
Alrighty. And it goes something like this.